You relieved? Don't start. Stop it. BB.
A medium is someone who can have conversations with energies or spirits of people that have passed on. The way that I experience it is a conversation. So you ask a question, you receive the information back, you interpret it, and you deliver it. The simple answer is a spirit conversation, but it is somebody who can make that contact.
The medium's job is to act as a vessel or a channel to kind of receive messages and tune into discarnate souls. Just think of this idea that our consciousness or our spirit exists beyond our physical body. Scientifically speaking, we do all give off energy, electricity. So it's the idea that we can also receive. I like to think of ourselves as just like little Wi-Fi modems. Yeah. Anyone can sit here and say, I'm channeling your grandmother. An evidential medium, which is what I practice, a lot of my colleagues practice as well, is I have to give you information that you and only you understand.
It's time for basketball, and Uber Eats is dropping deals on game day favorites to keep you locked in on the action. Like when you're craving a buzzer beater, but
Expectations as
it's time for basketball, and Uber Eats is dropping deals on game day favorites to keep you locked in on the action. Like when you're craving a buzzer beater, but also buffalo wings. Or when an upset makes you want to ugly cry into a pizza. And right now, Uber Eats has game day deals from Burger King, Buffalo Wild Wings, KFC, and hundreds more local favorites. So you can keep your eyes on the ball and your hands on a burger. Order now, only on Uber Eats. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? Well, with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills. Wait, did I say job title yet? Get started today and see how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello and welcome to I Talk to Ghosts. I'm your haunted host, Jennifer, a professional medium. Thank you for joining me this evening in my spirit parlor as we talk about all things metaphysical. Tonight, I want to discuss with you how to prep and prepare for a spirit reading. Now, I am coming at this from the perspective of someone who's going to have a reading, not someone who is the actual medium. And I've actually been meaning to cover this topic for quite a while because there are some things that you can definitely do to have the best medium reading possible, whether that reading is with me as your medium or if you happen to have a reading from any other psychic medium or spirit medium in the future. So bookmark this episode if you ever plan on having a reading. Oftentimes when someone has a reading, they think that they are just coming in and witnessing what is going on, but know that you are an integral part of having a successful reading and a successful connection. I often think of what we are doing as building energy and connection with each other between you and me and the spirit world. World and the spirit world and you. Think of it as this trust triangle. You have to trust me. You have to trust yourself. I have to trust you. I have to trust myself. I have to trust the spirit world, and you have to trust the spirit world too. And when all of those things come together, we can blend so well energetically and spiritually with love that this is where the beauty is. This is where the love and the magic are. And this is what makes a great medium session. So I never want you to feel like you are powerless or just a spectator in your reading. I want to discuss ways that you can prepare yourself for your reading and to check in with yourself to make sure that you have the right mindset, you're bringing the right energy, and also the right expectations as to what you may experience. So let's say you have decided to book a spirit reading with a medium with the intention of connecting with a departed friend or relative. Most likely, you put in a lot of time and research into user reviews and maybe even word of mouth to determine your medium of choice. And that is very understandable. This is going to be a very personal experience for you, probably very emotional, and you're putting a lot of trust and faith in someone to help you connect and heal from a loss. But from there, don't feel like everything is in the hands of the medium themselves. It is a much more complicated, interwoven experience than just the medium and how the medium works and how talented your medium is. I want to tell you this, you are an important component in your reading. So here are some of the most important things to bring to your medium reading in order to have a successful and perhaps life-changing experience. Number 1, commit to the experience. During your spirit reading session, You can be distracted by doubts or self-judgments like, was this a mistake, a waste of money, do I look doing this? Or you can commit to your decision. Okay, you are here for a reason. Most likely, this has called to you in your heart and the core of your being. You were moved to have this reading. So commit to it. Relax into the experience. Be present, clear-minded, and attentive, and enjoy the remarkable moments that are about to unfold for you. Do not bring your doubts and your fears and your self-judgments with you to your reading. So think about all of that beforehand so it doesn't sneak up on you in the moment and take you by surprise. Number 2, for having a good reading, be a good sitter. Now, since you are having a reading done, your role is that of the sitter, and you want to be a good sitter. Mediums are empathetic. They aren't just picking up on the subtle energy of the spirit realm. You are coming in loud and clear too. Your session is not an exclusive two-way conversation between the medium and the departed. As the sitter, you are the connection. It's your presence, energy, and intent that are bringing the spirits close. So be a good, clear, metaphysical telephone for your medium. Don't offer a connection with frayed wires and low batteries. And I'll talk about this more in a moment. Additionally, be a good host. Your medium would not be connecting with these spirits if it were not for your desire to do so. If you recognize the person speaking with the medium, don't clam up. Get engaged. Your session will be more fulfilling. I often compare it to being a dinner party and you're seated at the table. If your relatives are showing up to talk to you, they want to be engaged. They want to feel your energy. They want you to lean in and feel that your energy is also blending with them. So don't be afraid to lean into the communication. Also, remain engaged if you don't recognize the spirit coming through or know little about them, like if it's a great grandparent, for instance. Mentally and energetically ask the spirit to show the medium something that would make them recognizable to those who knew the spirit better. A specific piece of jewelry, a hobby, etc. You'll be stunned by the frequent validations received via post-session discussions with spouses or phone calls with older family members. And I always find that really fascinating. In short, your energy really matters. You want to be engaged. You want to have belief and faith. This energy feels so completely opposite of someone who attends a session and is kind of hanging back, kind of has their arms crossed, has that prove it to me attitude. If you truly feel that the session needs to be proven to you, perhaps it's just not the right timing for you to necessarily have a session in that moment. Trust me when I say the energy flows so much better when we are engaged and we come with loving, faithful hearts to connect with those that we miss and love dearly. So again, your energy really does matter. Number 3, cool the brain chatter. So let's bring it all together. What's the best way to commit to the experience and become that good telephone connection? It's all literally in your head. Spirit communication happens at the theta brainwave level. This frequency is connected to creativity and intuition. And this frequency is at its strongest during meditation, prayer, and spiritual awareness. And I'm bringing this all up because your clarity of mind will boost the spirit signal to the medium. Can you set your analytical mind to the side for a moment, or do you identify unconditionally with your analytical thought process? To be analytical is to comfort the ego of your being. Everyone has an ego. That's not an insult. But
Sucking
the
up to me.
ego, or your analytical
You're sucking
mind,
up.
can be very uncomfortable with the unknown, which is okay. We all seek to understand. But with spirit communication, like all the paranormal, it's unexplainable. The ego will search and search for a material answer so it can understand and fit what it finds into the world that it knows. And in a spirit reading, this is
Never said.
unfortunately a damaging scenario. If you rip apart the delicate theta state and grind everything down into material, you're just going to end up with dust. So what can you do to counter this? Be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You don't need all the answers and hard explanations. If you're trying to fit spirit communication into the world you know, the world you know better be filled with spirits already. Or you won't be creating the right space. So take a deep breath or two and let go. And again, trust, just for the time being. Have a positive attitude. Spirit communication happens at a higher frequency. If you're in a bad mood or are even just hesitant, you aren't meeting the spirits of loved ones at that higher level. Does that make sense? Anger and frustration are low vibrations. So is fear. Intention plus fear and nervousness is not a good combination to metaphysically conjure with. Medium sessions are never scary. Your medium is your guide and a very positive, light-filled beacon advocating for you. But to ensure that you have a successful reading, check in with yourself and make sure you're having a good day and you're in a good state of mind for your reading. So you can kind of understand as we're talking about how your energy and your frequencies and vibrations, high or low, can very well affect the reading that you're participating in. And as I said before, mediums are empathetic. They aren't just picking up on the spirit realm. They are connecting and blending with your energy as well. And when you're full of love and hope and faith and just really leaning into your reading, it can help energize your medium. It can make them just light up inside, becoming an even bigger spiritual beacon to call spirit closer. And when we are all connected in that way together, the energy is palpable and magical, and the connection just locks in, and the energy and emotion just flows. I know this was a lot of information to think about, but these were all just details to explain the why behind what I say next. You don't have to work hard to be a good connection. You already want a good session, so your soul is in the right place. Just come to your reading with an open heart, a quiet mind, and bring all the love you have for the person you want to connect with. It really comes down to that. Leave your doubts and fears and skepticism at home, because those energies are not the ones that are going to help you connect. Those lower energies are going to be disruptive. Soothe your analytical mind beforehand and let go. Let go to the flow and the faith of spirituality. This will all lead to the perfect welcoming scenario to have an amazing spirit session. And that's the session that you want and that you deserve. So please let me know if you have any questions or need clarification on any of these details. I absolutely love the topic of mediumship, and I love sharing it with others. If you're new to visiting the Spirit Parlor with me, or if you're new to the I Talk to Ghosts podcast, check out past episodes. I often share my medium readings directly on the show so you can see how I work. And you can also
Don't start with me, Bostet.
Put this one right here.
Today's video is brought to you by Vanity Fair.
What I'm
Stop it, Bostet.
I want to find and kill the people who murdered.
As a dentist and a mother, I know that.
Wow, looking good. Thanks. Just
The way these two can. This human dog bed purchased from Temu has become a small world for me and my puppy. It's soft enough to curl up in.
I am known as an evidential medium, and what that means is actually I'm trained in the British style. I was born this way, meaning I knew things ahead of time. I was psychic. I always felt spirits around me. And as a child, that didn't scare me because I knew the people. And so as I got older, didn't really know exactly what to do with that. And then I realized as things would come up and I would give advice or readings, not formally, but just to my friends, that it really gave them a lot of relief and helped them. As I became older in life and had a successful career through being an advertising executive, I realized that there was something that was missing with me, and a part of me is really owning who I am. And doing this work is a lot more fulfilling. But being an evidential medium is where I have information like a download. A medium gets a download, meaning I don't know the information. When I give the information to the person that I'm sitting in front of me, they have to validate that. And so there's evidence in there. My shows, they've had spirits told me how a relative that's crossed over, how a necklace, a piece of jewelry. One show was even like a whoopee cushion. I said, whoopee cushion? What does this mean? She goes, well, I've got one in my purse. No, who carries a whoopee cushion in their purse? So it's amazing to me, and also the sense of humor. But for us in this world, we need physical evidence. We need physical evidence to see it it's so. And so why me? Well, why anybody? I think that this is a God-given gift, and he uses people to show that this is more than what's here, and it helps us connect to people, and it helps us connect ourselves to the divine, whatever that means to the person. What do people expect when they come see me do a live meeting demonstration? You know, it's funny because I ask myself that too. It's always a surprise for me as well, but I can tell you this much. When we do have messages come through, they're always filled with three things: with love, with support, and sometimes an apology. Maybe they weren't the right father figure that they should have been, and they're there to show their apologies and show that they understand their wrongdoings and love them and send their love. So everything is always a message of love.
Are you having car trouble?
I want to do that. I lost the headphone the other day, and I had to. There's an app where you can like download it and you can find your headphone, and I had to do that. But on a step back to what I was saying is, I think that, you know, the person, everybody's different, everybody grieves differently, everybody's at a different point in their grieving too.
Eating or wanting to come up and talk.
Oh, okay.
It says ASRM relax.
That they had, but she had, but didn't probably use it.
That background and gypsies and everything else, you know, I think
ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, good.
So this is only my third podcast that I haven't done many podcasts. I did one years ago with Pat Monahan. He's a friend of mine from Train.
Yeah.
And who was that? Kim Zolciak. I was promoting my show and I did one. So, but I never did one like this. So it's a little intimidating with the headphones. Yeah.
Are you sure you're comfortable on that head? Because it looks like the headphones are slipping off your wig.
No. Well, that's because I don't have a wig, so they're not slipping, Barbara.
Looks just like a wig.
No.
Okay, so let me, where am I going to start? Okay, so what's it like to talk to dead people? Well, today we have with us Teresa Caputo, who you probably all know much more. Today we have with us Teresa Caputo, and you probably know her as the Long Island Medium. She's going to share with us how she handles this gift she has, or I might even call it a superpower. She talks to dead people. Let's hear what it's all about. You like that, Cindy?
That was great.
Okay. Teresa. I'm almost frightened to sit here with you. I'm afraid you're going to pull my mom and dad in and going to get me from the past or something.
Absolutely, nothing like that.
Okay,
Nothing
so that's
like
off limits, just for the information.
Off
It's
limits.
Okay.
Hashmini.
But tell me what a medium really is, because a lot of people have their own idea about what a medium is or isn't. What do you do, and can you really talk to dead people?
Well, I have the ability to sense and feel our departed loved ones. You know, people always say, you psychic, I don't predict the future. I don't want people's loved ones telling them what they should or shouldn't do with their life decisions and choices. From a very young age of 4, I've had the ability to sense and feel things that nobody else was in the room, and I was. I would see, so I can remember a clear vision at 4 years old, always seeing a woman standing at the end of my bed.
Wow,
at night.
freaky.
But to me, that was normal.
But as a 4-year-old, you're laying in bed at night and you see somebody at the foot of your bed. I would think any child would be frightened to death. That didn't frighten you?
Remembering it at that time, no, at that exact moment. But my mom would say that I would wake up with blood-curdling screams, screaming, and like somebody was literally attacking me. And there would be no one in my room. I didn't sleepwalk. I would just get up and would just have extreme anxiety and felt like I needed to get out of that room, out of that bed, and I just didn't want to be in there.
And you actually remember that as a child?
I remember that as a child.
Fear.
Yes.
Were they bad people in your room? Whoever was coming out of your bed?
No. What I found out later in life, it was my great grandmother who had passed before I was even born.
Oh my gosh.
That was the first soul that I can remember seeing.
And when you,
and I would never communicate with her. I would always just see her and feel her.
When you were feeling her and waking up with a scream and being so frightened as a 4-year-old, were you actually thinking there was someone there to harm you, or was it a good energy, or was it simply you were afraid because you didn't understand what was going on?
I didn't understand what was going on.
Who did you tell?
I would just say this, someone in my parents.
Did she think you're crazy, your mom?
No, because I come from a very spiritual and a strong faith family. I mean, my brother still tells the story of one night that I convinced my parents that there was a man looking in my window with big green eyes. That at like 3:00 in the morning, he had my dad out there on the ladder on the roof and my brother, and it turned out to be my neighbor's cat.
No,
I swear.
A psychic phenomenon.
That's like, but what I was sensing and feeling was real, and I can feel that watching over. But no one ever really made a big deal about things that I would say. I might bring up people that have died in the past, or I would just say things, and nobody ever really made a big deal about it. They just embraced it.
So you had the perfect family to welcome your difference.
I did.
Which you can't say about a lot of families.
No.
You might have just as easily been labeled a freak of some kind.
Oh, I say that all the time. I might have been diagnosed maybe with schizophrenia or some other type of disorder if I was with a different family. I say this all the time also. I know my path has been chosen, and this is my soul's destiny, because I feel that I've lived a very privileged life. And when I say privilege, I don't mean by financial means. Privileged to have a loving and supportive family.
Of course.
I only lost my grandparents within the past 10 years, so I was well into my 40s, still having my grandparents here. I still live right next door to my parents, and I'm 52, even though Wikipedia says I'm 53. Don't believe everything you read.
What difference does a year make?
Exactly. A lot.
But how about, tell me about the dead
But-
people. Tell
Yeah.
me specifically about the dead people. Are they happy to be dead? I've always wondered.
Well, I think this is, again, one of the misconceptions that people have of what I do. That they show me the other side, that I have this untold vision or story about heaven or what the souls of the
special
departed do.
access, maybe.
Yeah. But what it is, and this is what why I'm explaining this to you, Barbara, is because it all came through the process of me accepting who God intended me to be here in the physical world, my soul's journey. Because growing up, I never felt complete. I always felt that there was something missing. And I share this part of my story because I found out a lot of people might feel that way. Maybe it's with a relationship, a job, or they just feel something's missing deep within their soul. And it wasn't until I embraced my gift is when I felt complete. That's when I know that it's my destiny. So I struggled with, why was I chosen? What am I supposed to do with this? Who's going to want to come and see a medium and speak to their relatives that have died?
And this happened when, Teresa? When
This-
you were a kid, you accepted this, or you were already grown up?
I was grown. It was later in my 20s.
Raising a family.
Raising a family. I just had my daughter, Victoria.
And you had continued to have different spirits welcome themselves into your life, and then you finally said one day, hey, this is a gift, I should do something more with it and bring it to other people.
Yes, because I didn't realize how life-changing it was.
And how were you using it up until then?
I wasn't using my gift. I was
Was
blocking
certainly
it.
the spirits were still visiting, or you were locking them
I was
out?
blocking them out. And I was ignoring what I was sensing and feeling.
So if a spirit wanted to visit you, for example, even back in that chapter of your life, they don't bang down the door. They don't say, let me in, I'm going to kill you.
No.
Or something like that. They just will graciously leave if they're not welcomed.
I used to, right, like I would just not answer them or acknowledge their presence. So what happens is I start to feel certain things. And then when the spirit pushes me enough to get me to say something is when I know when to proceed with what I'm sensing and feeling.
So now,
But I just
sorry to interrupt you. Go
I
ahead,
just
please.
want you to understand why I also chose to do what I do. Is because I found out from sensing, I had gone to a spiritual awareness class to learn how to relax. I had a lot of extreme anxiety. I couldn't leave my house because I'm empathic, so I feel how other people feel. I feel the soul, how they died, what they want to communicate to their loved one.
Just walking around the street. So you go to your local delicatessen, and if that gentleman lost his father 5 years ago, suddenly that dad's behind the counter too, and you're feeling their messaging coming out.
When I walked in this room, I felt that there was a father figure in this room.
It better not be my
I don't
dad.
know whose dad it is because
I never honored Father's Day. The last Father's Day, and then my dad kicked the bucket. Please don't tell me he's back to tell me.
I don't know, but I could just tell you what I sense and feel. And then I had a laboring of the breathing in my chest, which means that they passed from something of the chest, whether if it was a heart attack, could be lung cancer. Usually, sometimes if someone drowned, I will feel like I fill up with fluid. If someone was brutally, maybe someone was murdered or tragic departure, I'll feel like I taste blood.
Oh my God.
It's just for like a split second, but I've learned through over the years how to channel and to communicate then to the person that it is their loved one, and more importantly, that the soul is at peace. So why I chose what I do is because I learned that people are left with burdens and guilts. They're left with a should've, could've, would've, and an only if. None of these things that I've ever been left with. That's why I shared with you before. I'm very privileged of not having to go through a tragedy, losing someone at a very young age. So when I channel and when I read someone, I can't have an opinion. I can't have a personal thought, feeling, or emotion. And it was validated on, I don't know if you noticed, I was on Dr. Oz and Dr. Amen, where they read my brain as I was reading someone, and they say my brain literally like flatlines.
Well, how do you do that to yourself, though? In other words, you sense that this
I don't know. It just happens. It's me. It's who I am. I don't know how I do it, how I don't do it. I just know when to say something, when not to say something. It's.
And I'm curious about something. Not every spirit probably. Well, let me not tell you. You know it. I don't talk to spirits, unfortunately, and I'm jealous, honestly. But not every spirit has to have a positive message, or are those the only spirits you hear from? What about the bad guy that wants to say something negative? Do you hold that to yourself and opt not to share that?
Spirit's not allowed to. When I put my gift in the universe's hands, and I said, if this is my soul's journey, place me the path and the opportunities, and I will follow. I only want good things. If it can't help someone or prevent something, then I don't want to know about it.
But can negative news help someone to get a negative message, something
So-
that's negative?
So I'll use this as an example. If this will answer your question, I remember doing a live show, and this young woman was murdered by her boyfriend. And I'm channeling her to her mother. You know, she's saying she's at peace. She described what she looked like, how beautiful she was, because the mother had visions of the way that her physical body was like, and that's how she was visualizing her daughter. How would I know that? I wouldn't know that. So the daughter's having me deliver this message, and I said
Hush,
to her,
kid.
your daughter wants me to deliver a message from someone else, but I can't see him. I can't get any messages directly from him, which is my symbol for that his soul isn't at a plane with God in God's white light, but he wants to apologize and want.
Hush. Yeah.
Skinny Pop. I chose.
Dying to get to that game? Just grab a flight.
Feed your breed's unique needs with Royal Canin Precise Nutrition.
We're putting together my son's.
Crispy.
Möchtest du ein Kind haben?
Bring the tropical.
Look, you love him, but you.
Introducing the
Suspect left her silk purse in.
Let's say you get a spirit who's pissed off and wants to be heard. Do you just turn that away? Do you keep it to yourself? Do you feel obligated to share with someone?
I've never had that. I've never heard from a soul. They will make me feel how they felt before they died. They might anger, frustration because of an illness, but that is never their message or their intent as they channel.
So their intent also paralleling your own is to bring peace.
Yes.
Do you believe that all ghosts or spirits or however you might want to describe them have positive energy when they go yonder and they come back as peaceful people? Because there's a lot of bad people in life. I have a hard time-
1,000%. Well, how the soul chooses to re-enter, that's a different story.
Well, what do you mean by that?
So
there's more. Not only that, there's more.
I've done past life regressions. I don't know if some people refer to it as reincarnation, however you want to interpret it, where our souls have had many different journeys here in the physical world.
So you will interpret what that last journey might have looked like.
So, right. So if someone, time and time again, it happens where maybe a husband will come through and they're speaking to their wife and saying, I see now from the other side how terrible I was to you, how I never told you how much I loved you or how much I appreciate everything that you did for me, how you cared for me, and for that I am sorry. And then the woman in front of me is breaking down and saying, that's exactly how I feel. He would say mean things to me before he died. He would throw his food at me, would yell at me, but it was the illness, it was the frustration. So now she would be beating herself up here in the physical world. I could have done better. What could I have done differently? And not being able to heal. At the end of the day, every message that spirit has me deliver, it has to deliver peace. Give something that person is holding on to that is holding them back from healing.
Teresa, do you think those messages of peace are because they're coming through you as a medium and that's who you are? Or do you think all the spirits out there that have passed on have peace? Is that part and parcel of being a spirit?
From what spirit has told me, is that when the soul leaves the physical body, they immediately leave behind disabilities, ailment, hatred behind. When a soul comes through and apologizes, that means that the soul had to relive their life through our eyes, to feel what it was like for their choices and decisions on how it affected us, how it hurt us. So that is how they're able to come through and apologize.
Now I want to ask you, how do you ignore a voice? Let's say you're going shopping, you have your normal chores to do, you have your laundry list, you want to get it done. And everywhere you go, you're feeling a spirit. There's got to be tons of them floating around. What do you do to ignore them? Do you lock them out?
Well, you also have to understand not everyone might need to hear from their loved one.
No, but let's say you're by yourself and you're not counseling anyone,
Right.
you're not doing a reading of any kind. You're just walking down the street
Right.
and you see a spirit sitting on a stoop saying, they
Well, I
want to
don't
be
see
heard.
them like that.
Oh, you don't see them.
I don't-
So tell me what you see. You're walking down the street going to the beauty salon.
I
to
won't
get your
see
next
them
wig,
like-
and then what happens?
I don't wear a wig.
Oh, I thought you said it was a wig. Sorry.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
You want, next time I come, Barbara, I'll wear a
Well,
wig.
how do you get your hair so high? It must be going up to the heavens there.
Hairspray.
Oh gosh,
And
don't give away your secrets. Come on.
I don't have any secrets.
I noticed.
No, I don't see the way we see here in the physical world. It's more through a feeling. I just sense and
Somebody's
and
with
feel
us.
things. Right. So I can feel a presence, but they might not make me feel anything else to say. So I just wouldn't walk around and go, hey, your uncle is here, your cousin is here. It doesn't work like that. They then have to give me other points, validations that person needs to hear a message. Not about believing in what I do, but needs the gift of healing. For example, years ago, I can remember I was in Bloomingdale's. I think I was picking up perfume. And I was at the counter, and all of a sudden I smelt a big woof of gardenias. Now that's not unusual. I'm in
You're at the perfume counter.
a perfume counter.
Of course.
Not
Makes sense.
unusual.
So far, it sounds normal.
Right. So I'm standing there, and all of a sudden this woman is standing next to me. I look over, and the smell gets stronger. And then I hear, please tell my daughter how much you love her perfume.
Wow, that's spooky.
So now I don't say anything. I wait, and the woman turns to me and she says, it's so hard to pick out a new scent when you've been wearing one for so long, right? And I'm like, yeah. So, by the way, I said, I love your perfume. I love it. It smells like gardenias. And she looked at me and she started crying. And she said, I'm wearing my mom's perfume. Today's her birthday. And when she was alive, I would yell at her, stop wearing that stinky perfume. So I wore her perfume today in honor of my mom. Woman didn't know that I was child that I heard tell my daughter how much you love her perfume or how pretty it is, right? I have to have that conversation. So I was able to deliver a message in a way that it just wasn't like, hey, your mom passed, she's here, and she wants you to know something.
I would have been tempted, so tempted if I were in your shoes that moment to say, and by the way, your mother just relayed that message through me. It would almost triple the power. It would be a confirmation that she chose that
Right.
perfume today. But you weren't tempted to do that, right?
She didn't need that validation. She knew. I think we exchanged words. I mean, I'm going back probably about 12 years ago.
But it was a confirmation.
It was a
that she made the
confirmation
right
that her
choice.
mother was with her, and that not to feel that sorry or feel bad about yelling at her, stop wearing her stinky perfume. These are the things that what I realize that people go over after time and time again of the little things that they hold on to and that they remember after the loss of a loved one.
Do you remember you were in my office for your show and you were feeling the spirit of both my mother and father here? I remember much of the detail of that afternoon that we spent. But was so shocking to me, I remember, is that you ended by saying that there had been a tree planted. And my mother was so happy about the tree. You floored me knowing that after my mother passed from Alzheimer's, she was sick so long, that there was and you said a red tree, which was a Japanese maple, which is red. You didn't name Japanese maple, but you went far enough that you were able to tell me that detail. It was spellbounding. How are you able to get not just the spirit that's relaying messages to their loved ones, but how are you able to collect that kind of detail that, in my mind, brought so much credibility to everything else you were saying?
Because that's one of my requirements for spirit. I've learned that there are a lot of common things I'm the first one to say that what I do is crazy. Anyone can say what Spirit has me say. And there are common burdens and guilts that we carry, common ways people die. But with every healing message that they have me deliver, they have to validate it with something unique to the person that they're speaking to.
So that the person you're speaking to or relaying the message to believes you.
Right.
So important.
See, now,
to that
I'm not-
point, I was like, I had one eye in and one eye out. So I'm
Sure.
a cynic.
Of
But
course.
after that, you have me all in.
Of course. And I
So
learned
you
that.
asked for that, if I
That's
could
good.
interrupt you a moment. You asked for that from the spirit, like prove to me you're the right spirit. You're really her deceased husband by giving me a detail, and then suddenly that spirit is saying, remind her that a tree was planted.
Well, for instance, Spirit knows when I give a speech or when I do my little mental preparation, they know when I'm ready to communicate. My rules are I need to feel the bond and relationship that they shared with the person. I need to know how they died.
And you ask the person who has not, that you ask the
No,
person
I'm
who's still alive.
This,
Oh, you're asking
I'm not
oh,
speaking
the
this, and this
spirit.
is all in my head.
Oh,
This is all in my preparation of when I read somebody.
I see.
Nobody, well, you had the experience. You didn't ask me anything.
No, I didn't.
Right.
But you should have told me a lot.
Your loved ones told you.
Yes, well said, but it seemed to have such credibility because of the amount of detail you gave.
Correct. But that's what they have to do. So with every healing message, they have to validate it with something so unique that there's no way I would know about, could find out about it. Sometimes, so because this is what's happening. I'm on the cusp now of trying to do an interview with you, right? And trying to block out things that I sense and feel. Because this is also what happens. I walk into a room and immediately spirit either starts coming or people know who I am and they start asking their loved ones, oh, this is an opportunity. Please step forward. So when you were sharing the story to me before about, seeing the tree planted, I kept seeing a quarter. That's my symbol for where someone carries something of their departed loved ones with them. Maybe it's a quarter, maybe it's a key. It's something that their loved one carried or they carry in memory of them. A lot of times it is changed, or someone did have a coin collection, or they find quarters in memory of their departed loved one. But there is that male figure, that father figure. So whether if it's a grandfather, someone's father, could be an uncle that was like a father to them. The laboring of the chest is my symbol for that they pass from something of the heart, lungs, or chest. And then there is also something about change. I don't know. So though, as I'm talking to you, that's what I see. I see flashes of things and I just sense and then feel other things. There was also somebody that passed with something of a stomach issue or something.
That might be me. I
Or
have an
something
upset
with the
I
stomach.
hope I'm not going to kick the bucket. It's my stomach.
No. My aunt just asked me that on the way over here. And they're not coming for me, are they, Teresa? I'm like, no, Auntie, they're not. She's like, well, I am 90.
Maybe a spooky person invite over for a casual dinner, frankly. Did you get any invites?
No. That's why I have.
Let's see. Hello?
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
That's good. So you looking to get a reading?
Yes, I'd like a reading.
Okay. Let me tune in. Just so you know, my cat's throwing a temper tantrum in the back. So if you hear, yeah, that's her. She's rotten. Would a redhead little girl make any sense to you?
No.
Or anybody with red hair? I'm also hearing perhaps like Scottish descent.
Not that I know of.
Okay. What about a gray tabby cat?
Never really had cats.
I knew you were going to say that. I'm just seeing an Irish theme again. Bastet, stop it. Did your grandfather have dark hair? Or one of your...
Yeah, I'd say so.
A tall, slender man with dark hair?
That might not have been my grandfather. It might have been my uncle.
Okay. What is he? He's kind of like dressed up. He's wearing nice clothes and his hair's like combed nicely.
Yeah, that's probably my uncle.
Okay. Did he work with cars or did he's showing me like a nice car. It's old, but
I have an old car
okay.
that was his.
Okay. Did you know him very well or was he kind of quiet?
He was very quiet.
Yeah, I'm getting the sense that he's a quiet man. He doesn't really have a lot to say.
No.
Was he from your mother's side of the family?
I think he was my father's side.
Father's side? Okay. Try to see if anybody else wants to come in. Would you understand a short elderly woman who's like kind of hunched over and has to use a walker and has long gray hair that she may have worn like in a bun?
Short gray hair. I'm not sure on that.
Okay. But did you know any elderly woman who used a walker?
Not elderly. No.
Okay. I'll let that go. I remember you were difficult to read last time.
But we got there.
Yeah. Would a pig farm make any sense to you?
No, not a pig farm.
I'm being shown a pig. Okay.
So did the other man with the dark hair want to tell me anything?
Let me see. Because he didn't really say any much. He was just kind of like popping in to say hi.
Hmm.
Okay, he's talking about like a health condition that may be genetic. Does that make any sense to you?
No.
All I hear is like take care of your health, like diet, taking your medicine.
Hmm.
But I don't know. He's not saying like I can't get what the condition is.
Right. Hmm.
Trying to see. I am getting like the image of a woman who like she's maybe in her 50s or 60s. And she was like a larger woman, not fat, but like big boned. Does she make any sense for you?
Yeah.
Okay, kind of like good sense of humor.
Yeah.
She's picking on you and saying you're stubborn.
That'd be my sister-in-law.
It's your sister-in-law. Yeah, she's coming through like kind of picking on you, saying you're stubborn and trying to get a laugh out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, she comes in a little stronger. Did she have any kids, like boys?
No, she had one girl.
One girl?
Yeah.
Did that girl play sports?
Yeah, she used to.
Okay.
Growing up.
Okay, I'll try to get a message from her. I'm just hearing I'm watching over everybody. She's saying you need to believe, like believe when they're there, believe, whatever it is that you've lost faith in, you need to don't lose faith about things. I'm hearing you're really hard on yourself.
Yeah.
And it's almost kind of like you've lost faith in yourself about something. You need to get your confidence back up. And she's laughing and saying you need to get out in the dating world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I'm getting.
Okay.
I got some for you. It's not as bad as last time.
No, but you did very well. I appreciate all your help.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing the reading for me, Rebecca.
No problem. Come, let me read for you anytime. It's good practice.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, fine. And with that, I'm going to end the stream because my cat is flipping out. Thank you, everybody.